What I'm about to tell you is going to sound absolutely backwards, completely contrary to everything you've been taught about making an impression. There's a particular way of being with people, and I'm going to break it down very precisely, that makes you absolutely magnetic. But here's what's strange. It requires you to give up the one thing you've been clutching onto your whole life. I want you to think about the last time you met someone truly unforgettable. Not someone who was trying to impress you, mind you, but someone who simply was. Someone whose presence lingered in your mind long after they'd gone. What was it about them? And here's the curious thing, I'll bet you anything, that they weren't working at it. They weren't performing. They weren't trying to be memorable. We've all been taught this extraordinary lie. We've been told that to matter to others, we must project ourselves outward. We must be impressive, be interesting, be witty, be charming, be successful, be beautiful, be intelligent. We walk into every room with our little resume of accomplishments trailing behind us like a peacock's tail. Look at me, we say, through every gesture and word. Look at what I've done. Look at what I know. Look at what I am. And all the while, we're absolutely exhausting to be around. Because here's what nobody tells you. People don't think about you because of what you show. They think about you because of what you show them about themselves. Let that sink in for a moment. The people who haunt your memory, the ones you can't stop thinking about, they're the ones who made you feel more alive in their present. They held up a mirror, not to themselves, but to you. And in that mirror, you saw something you'd forgotten was there. Some spark, some possibility, some deeper version of yourself that rarely gets to come out and play. This is where it gets really interesting, because I'm going to tell you exactly what you must give up to become this kind of person. That secret is that you must give up your self-concern. That's it. That's the secret. The very thing you've been clutching onto since you were old enough to recognize yourself in a mirror, this constant nagging obsession with how you're coming across. Whether you're being liked, whether you're being respected, whether you're being admired. This tyrannical little commentator in your head that never stops asking, how am I doing? What do they think of me? Did I say that right? The perfunctory nod while someone's eyes glaze over. Not the polite while melodies, the harmonies, the surprising chord changes. Do the same with people. And here's what's beautiful about this. The moment you stop trying to control the impression you're making, you actually make a much better impression, because you're no longer stiff, no longer performing, no longer anxiously monitoring yourself. You're fluid, you're responsive, you're alive. You're like water that takes the shape of whatever container it's poured into, rather than ice that maintains its rigid form regardless of the situation. I know what some of you are thinking, but Alan, doesn't this make me a doormat? If I'm not concerned with myself, won't people just walk all over me? And this is a beautiful question because it reveals a misunderstanding. Letting go of self-concern doesn't mean letting go of self-respect. It doesn't mean you become a passive sponge, just soaking up whatever anyone throws at you. Not at all. In fact, when you're not trapped in self-consciousness, you become much better at setting boundaries, much clearer in your communication, because you're responding to what's actually happening rather than to your fears and anxieties about what might happen. Think of it this way. A master swordsman doesn't win the duel by thinking about winning the duel. He wins by being completely present to each moment, each movement of his opponent. The moment he starts thinking, am I winning? Am I looking skilled? What will people think? That's the moment he gets struck. Presence is power. Self-consciousness is paralysis. And the same principle applies to human interaction. When you're fully present, you're responsive. You can feel the flow of the conversation. You know when to speak and when to be silent. You know when to share and when to listen. You know when to be playful and when to be serious. Not because you're following some rule book, but because you're tuned in. You're receiving the signals that the other person is constantly broadcasting. And people feel this. They might not be able to articulate it, but they feel it. They feel that you're with them, not against them or above them or below them, but with them. And this creates